Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Chiara Ferré, and I'm a pedologist, so I deal with soil. And today I'm going to tell you something about the soil sealing, but in brief, the effect of soil sealing, but in particular the importance of soil knowledge for a proper recovery of soil functionality after the desealing. And at the end, I show you our experiment, the sealing experiment in Milan. So we can start. And I start with a question. What happens when a soil is sealed? Probably you know that soil provide us with ecosystem services, and this is true for natural soil, but this is true also for urban soils. And what happens when soil is sealed? The exchange between soil and the other compartments is limited, and the results is the totally loss of ecosystem services. Yes, all except for supporting buildings, of course. And yes, a sealed soil doesn't host any kind of vegetation, and in particular, the drainage capacity is limited. We all know that the urban flooding has become an important issue, and it results in overflow and in stressing urban drainage. So this is the reason for dealing with desealing. But another question is what kind of soil do we find when the sealing layer is removed? This is important because the type of soil affects the practices to be carried out. So which kind of soil? To answer, you should know something about urban soils. Something was said during the first webinar. I will be brief. So, yes, here you can see some urban soils, and the urban soil is the results is result from the conversion from natural soil to urban soil under a disturbance. A disturbance that increase usually going towards the urban center. But urban soils can be semi-natural, like the first two soils. These are soil in urban park of Milan. They have been agricultural soil in the past, and now they are soil in this park. But they are very different from the last two soils with a lot of artifacts or a layer of asphalt. So in this case, this urban soil is highly modified. But urban soil has also unexpected properties. Here I showing you the results of a study in Milan, in which we found that soil of urban park store high organic carbon content, and a content comparable to grassland or to cropland of a surrounded area. And also kitchen garden, soil of kitchen garden are very fertile, are rich in organic carbon and rich in available phosphorus that is important for plant. And so there are soil in urban area with high organic carbon and other with low organic carbon. But what happens when the soil rich in organic carbon is sealed? the organic carbon should be preserved. Why? Because we are in absence of losses due to mineralization, but also losses to input of new organic matter. But there is another important things that before sealing a soil, usually the topsoil is removed, and a new organic matter free layer is added. So usually under the sealing layer, the soil are poor in organic carbon. And urban soil may present contamination of heavy metals of anthropogenic origin, may have anoxis condition, and can be compacted. So this information about urban soil are to show you that the heterogeneity in urban area is very, very high. So the uncertainty about what we find under the sealing layer is very, very high. And yes, what about the practices to carry out? Usually, the objective of the sealing is the recovery of soil and of its functions, but first of all, promoting the growth of vegetation in different ways. So by decompacting, if it is compacted, by adding organic matter, if it is poor in organic matter, sometimes by adding exogenous soil. And this soil usually comes from agricultural soils. So this means degradation of that agricultural soil. And the soil, the exogenous soil, shouldn't come from agriculture, but should be a reused soil. So, for example, a soil that comes from buildings sites. So the topsoil removal can be used for the sealing practices, for example. And another solution is to conserve and reuse the on-site material for soil reconstruction. And I will show you our experiment in which we are reusing on-site material in Milan. So the importance of soil knowledge is clear. So chemical characteristics, physical and biological characteristics can guide the action to be taken. I mean, easy, simple analysis, so pH, organic carbon content, that can help also to choose the suitable vegetation for the recovery of the soil. But yes, all these characteristics are related to vegetation, of course, but also to environmental aspects. For example, pH can affect, yes, the viability of nutrient, but also the mobility of heavy metals. And of course, also soil texture can affect the infiltration of water and the mobility of heavy metals. But it's important not to limit to topsoil, but it's important also to study what there is under in depth. The subsoil is only very important, and I'm showing you here three examples to better understand. Here in the first picture, I don't know if you can see, sorry. you see a layer that is gray bluish layer in this part. You can see also the water table. So these are anoxis condition. So we have a reducing condition due to the presence of water table that rises. And this layer, if it is near the surface, is a shallow layer, can affect the growth of plants, of course. And for example, the second image, you can see a soil with brown color. It means organic carbon content, and a layer that is lighter. And yes, of course, it is poor in organic carbon, but in particular, it has a very high bulk density. So this means a problem for the penetration of roots and also of water. And the last example shows a soil that is rich in rock fragment content, and it results in a low organic carbon content, but also in a very, very fast infiltration of water, and so a low water retention. And so this is to explain that the top part is important, but also the deep part. And I conclude with a representation of our experiment. Is a desealing experiment. It has some similarities with the project presented by Bianca Rompato in the fourth webinar. Yes, because together with colleagues of Florence and also Palermo, we discussed about the idea of studying unsealed soil, and we start with the experiment in different parts of Italy, and with some similarities, but also with some differences. And about Milan site, this is Porto di Mare. It's an abandoned area managed by Italia Nostra Association that took care of sealing. It's a small area, and okay. And yes, before the sealing and immediately after the sealing, we studied soil. And here are one of the 5 profiles that we studied. It is a regosol. Yes, before it was a tegnosol with a layer, a seal layer that was a cement. And now is a regosol. It's a poorly developed soil with high evidence of mixing and low organic carbon content. You can see here a neutral pH. A good content in available phosphorus, and sand loam texture that is not difficult to work. And so we studied also spatial variability. And about contamination, we determined heavy metals, and we observed that there were some heavy metals, but very, very under the legal limit. So we started with a project, and this is part of also of a PhD project of Gaia Mascetti. And the aim of this project was, first of all, to evaluate the reuse in situ of demolition waste, cement demolition waste, as parent material, and assess the effect of different treatments, and of course to monitor the recovery of soil. The treatments are here. There was a control with unsealed soil without the layer of the new layer of with demolition waste, and then two treatments with the use of demolition waste layer with and without the compost. But here you can see better the scheme. These are two controls, and here the experiment with the debris layer replicated 3 times with compost and without compost. And here one image on the layering. And you can see also that there are some sensors because we are monitoring the soil temperature, water content, and the oxygen. And we also monitor the quality of the water with installing dosimeter. So the monitoring concerns soil with chemical, physical, and microbiological characteristics of soil, but also vegetation and pedoclimate and water percolation quality. Here are some preliminary data concerning the sensor data. In black, you can see the, I show you this because we compared unsealed soil with sealed soil. And in fact, the black line is relative to sealed soil, while the green and brown line concern the unsealed soil, green for the top and brown for the subsoil. And yes, the desealing operation promoted the increase in oxygen. Here you can see here, this is sealed and unsealed, and also the increase in water content, and this is good for the recovery of soil functionality. And the next step will be to evaluate and compare the treatments and to verify the effectiveness and safety of using demolition waste as a material. And okay, I want to conclude showing this natural desealing. Sometimes plants find their own space, and this is an area in Milan that is covered by cement and asphalt, in which there is a forest, a spontaneous forest, and probably it will be a new experimental site. Thank you for your attention.